I'm Vinnie Politan. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And through the years, I believe that the biggest impact, I've seen it time and time again, from viewers, from people at courthouses, and the types of cases that we cover here on Court TV are ones where children are the victims. And it's for obvious reason, because they are the most vulnerable in society. They rely upon us, the adults, for everything. They trust us. And when that trust is broken, it is tragic. That's why on this program, at the end of each show, for years I've been doing this, I remind everyone, hey, don't forget to hug the kids. Don't forget to hug the kids. It's part of what we do here. And when I say hug the kids, what I'm talking about is having the ability as the adults in society to keep our eyes open, right? Literally hug your own children. But if you see other children that look like they're lost, or you see children that look like they need help, do something, say something, right? I think we all need to do that. In a lot of these cases, though, where children are the victims, oftentimes it's their own parents who are held responsible or accused of being responsible for what has happened. Many times there are situations where children are just in a tough spot. You've got parents who have nothing, could be strung out on drugs. You know, we're tracking a bunch of cases like that. I've covered many trials like that, and somehow a child is born into that world and really have no chance. But that's not all the time. Sometimes children are in a home where you should have everything. And we're covering a case like that. Take a look at this beautiful house down in Jupiter, Florida. I mean, it's a $1 million house down in Palm Beach County. And the people who live there, they have money, but they're in trouble because of what is alleged to have happened to one of their children. One of their children, an adopted child, locked in a box inside of the garage with a mattress, a camera, and a bucket. Those are the allegations. Those are the allegations. Absolutely shocking. Like, why would this happen? Why would you do this? Well, we'll have a trial to figure it out, because I'm sure they've got their side of the story, their explanation for why they would do this. But again, these are people with lots of means and the ability to provide whatever a child would ever need in this world. But this one child, the adopted child, was in a box in the garage. Mattress, camera, and a bucket. Now, those parents, Timothy and Tracy Ferriter, they've been arrested, they've been charged, they have a pending case. But now something else is happening with these parents. And it's a twist I wasn't expecting. They are seeking a protective order against their other children who are minors. What? What kind of twist is this? So the adopted child is the alleged victim of what they were doing by locking him in that box. Then they've got other children in the house, and mom and dad are trying to get a protective order because the kids allegedly hacked into their Google account and then grabbed some information and gave it to a lawyer? What's going on in this house? Well, let's find out. Ryan Hughes from WPTV, our great affiliate in West Palm Beach, Florida, has more for us tonight.
Timothy Ferriter was not in court for a quick hearing. His attorney spoke via Zoom. She filed a protective order and claims that evidence was obtained illegally after her client's email was hacked.
In a new 7-page filing, Timothy Ferriter's attorney alleges her client's and his wife's personal Google account was hacked by one or more of their children. The filing says, quote, the minor children were never given the login credentials to access the subject Google account. The motion also says the information obtained during the hack was sent to an attorney with the Foster Children's Project Legal Aid. We tried speaking with Timothy and Tracy Ferriter, but no one answered the door at their home in Jupiter Thursday. The couple is charged with false imprisonment and aggravated child abuse. Police say they kept their 14-year-old son locked in a box inside their garage for hours at a time, and he was only allowed out to go to school. Ferriters' attorney writes in the filing the documents illegally obtained by the children must be supplied to the defense, and the lawyer should be required to withdraw as attorney ad litem. The couple's 4 children remain in foster care.
And we reached out to both Ferriters' attorney and the Foster Children's Project for more information, but have not heard back. A motion hearing is now set for April 13th.
All right, I need a little help tonight trying to figure out what's going on inside this household. What is this all about? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Orlando, Florida, criminal defense attorney Kyla Coleman. In Cleveland, Ohio, criminal defense attorney and law professor at Cleveland State University, Ian Friedman. And in Staten Island, New York, former prosecutor Joanna Luzzi. Great to see everyone tonight. Okay, of course, you know, we've always have one on the panel from the great state of Florida, because these stories only come out of Florida, Kyla. That's what happens. It's the nature of the beast. So you need to explain to us what is going on inside that household.
Well, Vinnie, first of all, you know, Florida's pretty crazy. I'm a true Floridian, so I understand that we have some crazy cases coming out. But this case in particular really weighs heavy on my heart. I cannot explain why these parents did what they did. But I am hopeful, because if the children are the ones that turned the evidence over to that attorney, that shows that the children in the house were banding together, and that maybe they weren't acting with their parents and helping to keep this kid in the garage. And one thing that I was shocked about is apparently this child has some neurological disorder or maybe a mental health disorder that might have made him a little bit dangerous to the other siblings, but these parents aren't really talking too much about that, but that could possibly be a defense here.
Yeah, they're going to have a defense, Ian Friedman. I know they're going to have a defense, and they've sort of laid it out already that there were issues with this child, but, you know, locked in the garage with a mattress, a camera, and a bucket. No jury's going to like that. No jury's going to like that. But what do you think's going on here with the other kids, and mom and dad accusing them of hacking into their email?
So the other kids obviously make this even more difficult for the defense, because as you said, Vinnie, the facts, it's not a good starting point for the defense, right? You know, defense is, and look, they've got good lawyers on it. They've brought up the fact already. They've telegraphed that this is going to be a defense of reactive attachment disorder, which is pretty common. Most common, I guess you would see, from people, youngsters that had trauma in their life, oftentimes taken from their parents, put into foster care, and don't then really bond with their new caretakers, which is what they're arguing here. The parents are going to have to really argue that what they were doing was a necessity in this case because of that condition. Now, the other kids in the house, they're not going to understand this. They're just going to see that their new brother was in a cage 18 hours a day with a bucket, with a lock on the outside, with the power being switched only from the outside. That's not going to be understood by them. So of course they're going to reach out and look for evidence that, you know, that shows why, or that may help someone look at why their brother was being kept in this without understanding. I think the defense is a tall order here. They have all the parts and pieces, but it's really a tough start, really going to be a difficult case, and it's going to be really hard to turn jurors from this place that they're going to start of such dislike and disdain and lack of understanding to a place where they accept all of a sudden that, maybe they really were doing what was necessary. Even as I say it, right, sounds like a really tough call.
Yeah. Joan, what do you think about the children now? Hacking? And they're minors, but I'm not sure of their ages. You know, you get a child who's 11, 12 years old, they're going to know a lot about computers, first of all. But what's their role in this case, in this trial? It seems to me they may very well be witnesses, and they could be witnesses against their own parents. There's no parent-child privilege, is there, that we need to worry about as a prosecutor?
No, certainly there's no parent-child privilege here. And children are resourceful. These children must have seen what was horrific abuse in their household towards that foster or that adopted child. And children are innocent, right? So they don't come from a place of ingrained hatred or spitefulness. And what they see must make them feel a danger too. If this could happen to him, the parents who have ultimate control over them could just as easily put them in a box and may have been threatening the same. There's just zero excuse in 2022 for these parents to do this to a child. There are social services, particularly for families of adopted children. There are hospitals, there are doctors, there are social workers. There are so many services available to these parents. It's incredible because these people were functioning every day in the public. I'm sure they were waving hello to their neighbors and acting like they were living in a normal household. Meanwhile, the horrors that were happening just within their doors is just unspeakable. It really is. I predict these people never go to trial. There is zero defense for these people. I imagine that they'll be pleading guilty.
You know what? I think they're dug in, though. I really think they're dug in. Kyla, let me ask you about this, because to me, they have the resources. They have the level of sophistication. They're not, I don't think they're strung out on drugs. They're functioning in society. I mean, usually when we have cases like this, we take a look at the parents like, oh my, they can't even take care of themselves. And for whatever reason, right? But they had the ability to do anything. That's why it's a head scratcher. Because if you adopt a child and it turns out the child is a problem, you have the ability to do something about it. And I'm wondering why they wouldn't reach out, or if they did, how this became the solution to all of this. And I know with adoptions, it's not like you buy something and you return it, right? There's a connection. You've made that commitment to this child, but if you're in over your head, there is help out there, and it seems that they're sophisticated enough to figure out how to find that help.
Absolutely, but when we're looking at cases like this and people who come from money, sometimes it might be a shameful thing. If you have a child that has a disorder like this, you might not want to seek resources. You might just want to keep it as a problem for your home. Now, I personally wouldn't do that, but I would like to see if they did reach out, if they did let the adoption agency know what was going on, or in the alternative, if the adoption agency let them know that this child had a mental health issue. And who gave them the idea to put this child in a garage in an 8x10 cage or box? That's what I would like to know. Because if they did go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and that person gave them that idea, okay, maybe we can place the blame on someone else. But I just don't know. These people also might have some mental health issues themselves. I'm grateful that they removed those 3 children, the 3 other children from the home, and that these kids are in better hands than they were with the people they were placed with.
Yeah, that's the other part of this equation, Ian, is what's in the best interest of the other 3 children. And we know that our system bends over backwards trying to keep children with their biological parents. I mean, that's like the presumption. That's where you want that to work. Here, there's so much up in the air right now, but you still have to balance, what impact is this going to have on these kids? But at this point, they seem to be adversarial because mom and dad are looking for some sort of protective order here.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the hope and the kind of starting point is to keep the children with the parents. But under these circumstances, I think any lawyer would be shocked if Children and Family Services didn't come in and take the kids. Under these circumstances, they're going to wait to see what happens in this case. And even if the parents are acquitted, there's still going to be administrative actions taken by Children and Family Service to see if staying in the home remains in the best interest of the children. So they can't keep the kids with the parents right now. And we'll see at a later date what happens.
Joan, how does this work now? Because usually if investigators want to talk to a child, a minor, you need the consent of mom and dad. So how would this work if investigators wanted to get information from their children and hypothetically say mom and dad are like, no, I don't want you talking with my child. They're our children. How does all that work? And is that now do they no longer have any power because the children are represented by their own attorney?
The court will appoint a guardian, a law guardian, to be able to take that parental, position with the children, to make them free to speak, free to talk about what's happening. These children are already showing independence. As soon as they realized, or as soon as these parents were taken into custody, they saw a small window open from this horror that they were living. Can you imagine the fear factor in that household, that none of these kids ever told one of their teachers about what was going on? And it took this child to run away for 2 days to finally uncover the truth. Can you imagine the mental crippling fear that was controlling that household? It's horrifying. How could these people have been in business? How could they have gone to restaurants? How could they have functioned in grocery stores? It's incredible that you think you know people, right? And that people could be living literally double lives.
We just heard the closing argument for the prosecution, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Kyla Coleman, Ian Freeman, John Naluzzi with us the whole hour. When we come back, great that we have this panel tonight, because we're going to talk about, that celebrity factor inside a courtroom. Johnny Depp going on trial. He is suing his ex-wife, Amber Heard. She is suing him right back. He's asking for $50 million. She's asking for $100 million. And it all centers around the issue of whether or not Johnny Depp beat Amber Heard. Was he committing domestic violence in their home when they were married? We'll talk about it next.